In Indian economy, we are going to discuss about net domestic product, that is NDP. Okay, so in the previous class we already discussed about GDP, that is gross domestic product. So GDP means the total value of the final goods and services which are produced within the boundary of the one particular period, okay, 1 year. So in the same way, net domestic product means the formula of the NDP is GDP minus depreciation. So here depreciation means we can deduct the cost of your capital assets. For example, if any company is running by me, so I have to buy some machinery. So for example, the machinery's cost is 1 lakh rupees. So I cannot show the 1 lakh rupees as the investment in this year, because this is the high amount, right? So in the same way, I can show my the expenditure per year, so according to the lifespan of the machinery. Okay, for example, I bought the one machinery, so the cost of this machinery is 1 lakh rupees and the lifespan of the particular machinery is 10 years. So in this year I have to show the my expenditure is 10,000 rupees. Okay, so each and every year I have to show 10,000 rupees is my expenditure to buy that particular product. Okay, so it means 10 years I will show my expenditure 10,000 as per years. Okay, so 10 years 10,000 rupees and the total cost is 1 lakh rupees. So this is the depreciation. It means we cannot show the total expenditure in this year only. Okay, so here we can calculate the capital assets only, not the human beings. It means we also using the labor, so we cannot show the labor cost, but we can show the capital assets cost only, that is the depreciation. So who will decide the rates of the depreciation and lifespan of the depreciation? So that is one organization and one ministry, that is Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So it will decide and announce the rates of the particular depreciation in India. Okay, so it means government of economies will announce a list and it can publish those rates of the depreciation. So we have to follow those rates and those lifespans according to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So there are so many ways to calculate the depreciation. So first way is used by the different sections of the economy. Okay, so by using the different sections of the economy for the real levels of the depreciation in different assets. Okay, so different assets they have different values. For example, residential house may be 1% and electric fan may be 10%. So for example, mostly our residential houses are constructed with cement bricks. Okay, maybe the lifespan of the residential houses in India maybe 50 or 60 years. Okay, so that's why that is 1% of the annual depreciation. Okay, so second way is domestic currency. According to the domestic currency also, if the value of the domestic currency is decreasing, so the depreciation values also published. So here if the value of the domestic currency decreases or fall against the foreign currency, so the depreciation means a loss of value in the particular domestic currency. Okay, so finally NDP equal to GDP minus depreciation. So here NDP is lower than the GDP for the same year, so the GDP is always NDP is always lower than the GDP, because GDP means only all final goods and services cost, but NDP, so we are taking negative cost, means we are using the expenditure, so we are deducting the cost of the expenditure. Okay, so we are going to deducting the cost of expenditure in the GDP, that is NDP. Okay, so there is no way to cut the depreciation to zero. Okay, because we are always spending money on something for the industries, so that's why we cannot show the zero levels of the depreciation. So we have to spend the money on the companies, we have to spend the money in the industries. That's why there is no way to cut the levels of the depreciation to the zero levels. Okay, but people always try to cut the levels of the depreciation by developing some new techniques like important machinery and technology. So that's why there may be a chance to decrease the depreciation and expenditures levels. So different uses of NDP. There are some uses to calculate the NDP, because first one is for domestic use, used to understand that historical situation of the loss due to depreciation to the economy. Okay, because we are spending money on the machinery or industries, that's why we have to know the loss what it is. Okay, so not only getting the income, but we have to deduct the cost of expenditure also. So here income is more than the GDP. Income is more than the expenditure, that is a balanced income. Okay, so income is always higher than the expenditure what we spending money. Okay, so in the same way, to show the achievements of the economy in the area of research and development, and it may be tried to cut the levels of the depreciation. So because some years ago, so we always depends on the machinery, not on the robots or technology. But in this time, so we are going to depend on the robots and technology. Okay, and some people are going to research and development of the new technologies, new equipment, new machinery with low cost. Okay, so it means here the expenditure is increasing, but the cost is decreasing in some areas. So it means day by day the research and development is increasing. So there are some achievements of the economy as compared with the old days and at present. Okay, so there may be a chance to cut the levels of the depreciation. Okay, and the next one is NDP is not used in comparative economies to compare the economies in the world. For example, GDP means we can compare. Okay, because the GDP of a particular country is some percentage, the GDP of a particular country is some percentage. So countries are higher than the other countries. It means we can compare the GDP levels of a particular countries, but we cannot compare the NDP levels for the countries. Okay, so because different rates of the depreciation by different economies of the world. Okay, so because there are different rates, different types and different cost of the assets, so that's why we cannot compare the particular NDP of a country with other countries. Okay, so it means we cannot compare with the NDP levels, and the rates of the depreciation is based on the logic. Okay, for example, in India the houses are constructed with cement and bricks and sand, so the lifespan 100 years and the 1% is in depreciation level. Okay, so as compared with other countries, maybe some other countries are constructed with only wood. Okay, so the lifespan of the wood constructed houses may be 20 years or 10 years. It means the depreciation level may be increased. Okay, and next one is economic policy making. So by using the depreciation and its rates used by the modern governments, so we can use it as a tool to the formation of the economic policies. Okay.